in less than 24 hours, we got a letter from a lawyer. They were saying that we're infringing on their brand identity, and we didn't even know they existed.
How do I make sure that a name is not already trademarked? I'm actually going to show you what I do as a law office. The reality is that your trademark as a business owner is one of the most valuable aspects of your business. I can say this as someone who has done intellectual property for the last 10 years. We license out your trademarks. We will actually sell your trademarks, especially when your business gets acquired later on. And so the name, your logo, your slogan, these are things that are not only valuable to you, but are quite literally valuable as an asset of the business. And as a trademark attorney, I can tell you that getting sued related to your trademarks is very stressful, it's expensive, it's time consuming. So I thought I would do a lawyer's reaction today to getting sued for trademarks by Flux Academy. It looks like it's essentially a web design school, so learn to be a more successful and profitable web designer, master the latest trends, tools, tech. All right, so with that context, let's see what's going on.
Today was a horrible day. Never mind that, I'll tell you about that later. But I got an email from a guy called Bilal with a question. I do seem to get a lot of questions in the email lately. But anyway, he was asking me about how do I make sure that when I'm creating a new product, company, brand, that name is not trademarked. How do I know that I won't be sued for picking a right name? And so I want to start off by telling you a story about how we actually almost got sued for a name that we picked for our company. And so some of you know that we have a company called the nuSchool, which is written nuSchool, which already, if you know something about naming, that means that it's not a great name because you have to explain how it's spelled. So, and we were actually worried that aside from the fact that it's hard to spell this name, it was a bit too close to, there's an actual design school in New York that's called Parsons nuSchool of Design. And we were thinking that, or worried that somebody might think that it's a bit too close. So we wanted to change our name.
You know, it's funny, literally we do this as a service for our clients who need help figuring out what the name is or what to name. Let's say it might be an LLC, it might be the trademark for the company. Sometimes you just need help coming up with the name. It's called Fanciful. The more unique your name is, the higher likelihood that one, someone else isn't using it, but then number two, that you will actually obtain a registration when you go to file with the federal government. We're going to talk about that, but let's get a little bit more into what's going on with Flux Academy's situation.
And so we've wasted a lot of time brainstorming and coming up with new names. And after a lot of work, we came up with a new name. We decided to change the name of our company to Bold and Creative. We created a new logo. We, hired an illustrator to create a cool T-shirt for us, and we've sent the whole community, the whole newsletter of the nuSchool, like 20,000 people, an email announcing our new name. We put everything on Facebook, and we're like celebrating the relaunch of our brand. And then in less than 24 hours, we got a letter from a lawyer here in Israel that says apparently there's a company here in Israel that's called Bold's Creative, and it's a design agency. The nuSchool is not a design agency, but it's kind of a school for designers. And so they were saying that we're infringing on their brand identity, and that we're trying to steal their brand and everything, and we didn't even know they existed.
Okay, so right off the bat, because the question had originally been, how do I make sure that a name is not already trademarked, right? So that someone is not already using it. I'm actually going to show you what I do as a law office. It's called a knockout search. So I'm going to show you how to do this for yourself. But, in the situation, they announce their name. They're so excited. They're so, celebrating it online. And then they get a cease and desist from an attorney. So someone is saying you are using either the exact name, something substantially similar to. So A, that can just be like extremely stressful. B, you just came off this little high of like finally announcing your thing that you've been developing. So I totally understand the feeling that they're having at this point. But where there's a problem, there's also a solution. If you're needing legal help, feel free to reach out to Delgado Entertainment Law, which is my firm. We offer free case evaluations with our case managers. So just meaning you don't have to make any kind of commitment. We'll just see how we can help you. Feel free to call us. You can text, you can email. We look forward to hearing from you.
Anyway, it got us really worried. It was like an official lawyery letter with very scary. And we kind of consulted with our own lawyers and everything. But basically, we decided to actually not get into this fight, even if maybe we could have won. Maybe, I'm not really sure what would happen if we go to court with this, because I don't think that they have a real claim. But anyway, we decided that
I don't think they have a real claim. So, okay. So where I'm going to start with this is that they said there was a letter from a lawyer in Israel. And so what I can speak to is, at least in the United States, right? I'm a US attorney. I do federal trademark work, which means we file with the federal government here. We obtain a trademark so that you have protection all around the United States. Now, you do have the ability to go and get a trademark at the state level, but that only gives you protection within the state. Why would someone do that? For example, we might think of like a cannabis business where a certain name may not be able to get registered at the federal level, but something like a name related to cannabis could be permissible to be registered at the state level. Point being though, best bet, go federal whenever possible. Okay, but on the analysis, he goes, well, we got the letter and we, right out the gate, we're like, we don't want to fight this. We don't want to have a big thing, but we don't really think that there was a problem. Now, in lawyer land, typically we go, were the trademarks substantially similar or exactly the same? And even if they are, that's not necessarily a problem. The one that comes to mind is, right, Pandora for music streaming, and then there's Pandora jewelry. There can be two names and even giant brands that are well known in the general mainstream marketplace that do completely different things and are in different classifications. Let's see what they decided to do in this situation.
You don't want to waste so much effort and energy and money into pursuing a brand name that we just changed like 2 days ago. And so after, 2 days after we launched this new name, we kind of did a rollback, send an email to everybody announcing how stupid we are and going public on social media saying that we are sorry, we did not mean to infringe on anybody's copyrights, and that we're going back to the name, the nuSchool, which we still have to this day.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not so down on his nuSchool trademark. You do have to be kind of careful if you ever have a trademark that is just descriptive. So for example, I think of Apple. And so if Apple was the name of my business and I sold apples, right, as a merchant or a vendor, I probably wouldn't be able to get a registration for my Apple selling services. But if I have the name Apple and I'm selling technology, Apple is not descriptive of the goods and services that I sell. So in this case, if you're doing web design training, nuSchool does not indicate to anybody who hears that what it is that you do. You can guess it might be educational, so yes, that might be kind of descriptive, but beyond that, it then becomes an argument, and that's why you want to have a trademark attorney do these things for you, so that if you do have, they're called examiners, so if you do have an examiner from the trademark office come back and be like, you know what, it sounds like nuSchool, which sounds like a new kind of school, and you're a school, you teach stuff, therefore I think this is just descriptive, denied. You have an attorney who can come in and be like, no, actually, it is not merely descriptive for these reasons, and so you can overcome the refusal to get the registration. But anyway, so they decided, put a kibosh on the other bold and creative trademark. Now, just to do all of that and then send an email and do like a full retraction based on just a letter, I really hope that the legal counsel that they consulted with was able to confirm there really was a bold and creative registration. It's within the same classification. There is a high likelihood of confusion because, to his point, he's like, we didn't do a whole lot. We had not invested a ton, so it really wasn't that big of a deal for us to claw it back. Okay, so that's good, but you don't need to necessarily just jump right to it and be like, oh my gosh, we got a letter, and so we're going to change our total strategy.
What do you learn from this? You learn that you have to do your homework pretty well before you go live, and with your product, with your company name. And so when we created Prospero, we did a little bit more, let's call this homework. And so everything I actually know about this, and I want to put this in, kind of note, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a designer, entrepreneur. Everything I know is because I read it either online in books or consulted with other lawyers. So don't take this as a legal advice, but I'll tell you what we did. And so there's a great book about naming, which I think I recommended a few times here. It's on my recommendations page. It's called Hello, My Name is Awesome. It's about how to create great brand names. They actually have a whole chapter there about trademarking. And so what they suggest you do is there's few steps. The first one, which is obvious and you should probably do this, the first thing is use Google and Google that name and see what comes up. Are there other companies and using that name? Try searching up on Facebook, try searching up on Twitter, on Instagram, and see if already brands are using that name. Now, a lot of, I mean, I think there's a good chance that you'll find somebody who's using that name because, you know, the world is so big, and if you take any random word from the dictionary and add design afterward, there's probably a design agency somewhere around the world with that name.
Fair enough. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll summarize this, but let's go through it as he's kind of explaining it. So the knockout search, which is what trademark attorneys do typically before we do a full application filing with the federal government, we do this search to make sure that this is going to be a good investment for you, meaning there's a high likelihood that you will get the registration of your trademark because there should not be a competing trademark already, for example, registered, right? So one of the first things is do a Google search, and you want to just search like as far as you can kind of go into Google, at least the first 10 pages, I would say. Search not only with the literal name of your trademark, but also search for different spellings. Right? So to his point, nuSchool, nuSchool, you should also be looking for new, N-E-W, nuSchool, because it sounds exactly the same. And that's actually how the trademark office looks at this. The analysis is based on how it's written, but also how it sounds. Step 1, Google. Step 2, check social media profiles. So this is basically we're doing an open market search at this point just to see what is generally online. Because here's the thing, if you do find someone who's using your name, but they are in a different country, that actually may not be a problem, right? Because if someone has a registration in Russia and you're trying to register in the United States, the registration databases for each of the countries are separate. Okay, so we do our social media search, we make a note of anyone who could be a competitor. So not only looking geographically, where are they, but also how long have they been using the mark? Here in the United States, it's first come, first serve. Not really. It's more of whoever uses it first has a priority claim. So that's why you do want to start using your trademark as soon as possible. So hopefully you can beat the other person to the punch.
There's probably something, but you have to understand if it's super close to what you're trying to do or not, where it is. Like globally, is it in your location or not? Because look, there are companies that are using the same name. Just for example, there is Monster. In the US market, there's Monster, which is an energy drink, and Monster, which is a job board website. They're both using the name Monster, but they're in totally different industries and products. And I don't know if any of them actually has the trademark for the word Monster, or they just have trademarks for their logos.
And actually, this brings me to the next part of the knockout search, which is to actually search the USPTO database. This is what you do. Go to uspto.gov, and you see top right here, it says find it fast, drop down menu. Find it fast, go to Trademark Search, which is here the first option. And then there is a little search bar here, and you can search for a couple of things. Usually if you're just starting with the word, we'll say we're looking for a monster. And then on the left side, it's going to show you all the stuff that is live and dead for this search. I don't care what is dead. I care about what is currently live. That's where we're starting from. Monster Gone. That's fun. Monster Mashed, Monster Guard, and notice here the IC, that stands for International Class, so it says what is the trademark in association with. Monster Truck Throwdown. Monster, do you see the unique spelling there, right? That's why you have to look for different spellings. Because actually the trademark office, if you tried to register Monster, let's say in the class of 9, which is what that other one is, and they saw that there's Monster with the different spelling, they go, actually, they sound like the exact same trademark, therefore we're going to deny your Monster trademark in the same class. And here we go. I have the answer, at least for the first one. So Monster Energy. Oh, how interesting. Their actual mark is M, Monster Energy. So look, that's kind of sneaky and smart. So they go, the M in the logo is considered part of the mark. So let me just see. That changes the analysis just a tiny bit. Yeah, look at that. And in fact, for M, Monster Energy, there are a whole bunch of registrations, right? Because they're in different classes. One is for automotive wheels, clothing, stickers, personal training, bags. That's pretty actually smart of the brand. They're not even trying to compete with just Monster. Their actual trademark is M Monster Energy. Look at all the fun learning we're doing together.
The first thing is just use Google. Then I didn't actually explain what trademark is. Trademark is like legally saying that this name is yours, and you have to do it by country. So a lot of times if you have like an international business or a US based business, you register a trademark in the US, which actually costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time. And so if you're just like a small startup, just bootstrapping your company, you're probably not gonna go and register a trademark just because you're now trying a new product, you have an idea that you're not sure about, you don't have a lot of money, and you're not gonna spend like thousands of dollars and lawyers and stuff to register this as a trademark. And so I think a lot of companies, even maybe most companies, operate without like a legally registered trademark. Only companies like, I don't know what, Coca-Cola are operating with a trademark for their name.
Well, and the good news is that you actually start getting trademark rights, at least pursuant to US law, just by using your trademark. They're called common law trademark rights. And so you going and getting a federal registration is that piece of paper that's going to do so many things. It's going to allow you to file takedowns, let's say on social media from infringers, on websites to get pages taken down, like right away. Or you have it as leverage to go and ask for licenses if someone is using a trademark that's substantially similar to yours. And it can be a big investment. That's why you should always do this knockout search before you go through and actually file an application, because most law offices, they'll charge you $1,000 to $2,000, and then there's also the government filing fee on top of that, which can be like $550 for one classification. So it is a big investment, but like I said, your trademark is one of the most valuable assets of your business. So the way I like to think about it with clients is, if you are a brand new business, we definitely want to get that registration at some point, but right out the gate, maybe your budget won't accommodate filing for the federal trademark right away, but it is something that needs to go on your to-do list for your business sooner than later.
Once you do that first Google search, you can move into the next step, which is there are few search engines, I don't remember the website, but I'll put them in the description, which allow you to actually search kind of the US registered trademarks. And so you can type the name over there and see if something comes up. If nothing comes up, that's a good sign that perhaps you can use that. And then the third one, if you're like a big company and you're, I don't know, you have investors and you're pretty sure that this is the name that you're going to use for the next few years maybe, and this company is going to be big, then you actually have to take a proper lawyer, like a trademark lawyer, that will check everything there is to check and make sure that the name is like legally okay, approved to you. So for example, for us, for Prospero, we did all the free kind of googly searches and all the trademark searches, and we did find that there are companies with the name Prospero, but not in our domain, not doing exactly what we're doing in the same space, in the same industry. And so we came to the conclusion that it's okay. We did not register a trademark. We didn't go to a lawyer, and so in some way or another, maybe it's problematic, but I don't think so. And we didn't have a problem with it so far.
All right, well, my goal with this video is just to empower you watching this to do your own knockout search, and then at a minimum, if you want to get a lawyer to do an official knockout search for you and actually generate a report being like, hey, this is, basically what I found or did not find, you could at least have that for your peace of mind, even if you don't want to file the actual trademark registration just yet. But either way, you should definitely be doing these searches, because if you are a prolific business owner, as most of you are coming up with all kinds of new business ideas, new product ideas, and so this should be just part of your process before you start going down the line too far, to just make sure the name is good to go. Okay, and then I'm going to recap again the knockout search steps for you at the end of this video, so hang tight.
Basically, this is what I know about trademarking. Basically, do your homework, use Google, use Facebook, try to look it up. If it looks okay, it's probably okay for the first initial stages of your company. Then when you grow, probably you should take a lawyer and then reconsider what you should do. So that's about it. Why was my day so crappy? Well, I started off by talking to Ayal, my partner, who told me that he's probably gonna have to go through surgery next week. Totally sucks. Kind of depressed me for the whole morning, and I couldn't get anything done. I didn't have motivation to get some work done. Then I went out to a meeting. Bicycle battery just broke down in the middle, and I had to paddle 20 kilometers with my bicycle. And didn't see that my new jacket that I just bought this weekend dropped off while I was riding my bicycle, so I lost it, and I'm super bummed about this. So
oh no. Oh, can I tell you, being a business owner and life happens. If you have a family, if you have kids, there's just chaos, and then you need to come in and be the chipper, positive, motivated person. And maybe you don't feel like it, but you show up and you do the job anyway. So here we go, recapping. If you want to do a knockout search, basically 3 things. 1, Google, search not only the exact trademark that you want, but also any kind of funny variations of the spelling that you can think of. Do the same thing on social media platforms specifically, right? So take a look on Instagram, take a look on TikTok, take a look on YouTube. Then you actually want to go to the US trademark database, which is uspto.gov. Do your search there. If you are not finding anything whatsoever, that's great news. And then, like I was saying, even if you do find someone, let's say on Instagram, who has a similar name, you want to look at some of the other stuff as far as geography. Where are they? How long have they been using it for? And when in doubt, be sure to retain a trademark attorney. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Delgado Entertainment Law. We do no pressure, free case evaluations. We'll see how we can help you. If you learned something from this video, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Miss Crystal.